Hello there, everybody. Sorry about that brief pause, but we are back with some NLC Div 2 action. My name is Jack Middlecott Davis, and I'm going to be joined by Mr. M Test for the final 3 games of the evening. Sticking around. How are you doing, man?
I mean, honestly, man, I'm doing good. I mean, Hipray had some technical difficulties, as we like to call them in the business. So super nice of my man Middlecott here to jump in, and I'm sure we're gonna have a blast. We had a blast last time around. We were crossing together, so I'm sure today's gonna be no different, mate.
Yeah, what was that? That was Div 2 relegations
Yeah,
last split, I
was.
believe. You
Yes.
came there, and now what? Like, you're doing NLC Div 1, you're here in Div 2, you're absolutely popping off. But before we get to the games, we've got a little bit of a Q&A. We sat down with Lightside and asked them a few questions just to get to know the team a little bit more. First one of those just coming up now. M-Test, I believe this question is going to be a bit of a bold one. From the light side, guys. Predictions for this split. Early predictions, obviously. If we overperform, we get top 9. What are your thoughts on that?
Actually, I think it's a solid statement from Lundqvist. I think top 10 is like probably as fair judgment as well, right? But as you mentioned, they want to overperform. So top 9, I mean, completely solid. Top 10 in top 9 in Div 2. I mean, it's completely nutty actually. So respectable opinion. Do you think the same?
Yeah. Well, I think they got top 9 last split. So, like, I think a bit of consistency, continuing to build on the strengths that they had last time around. Do you know what? That's fair enough. Like, you can't always be expecting, we're going to go right to the top. But, I mean, Lightside had a pretty good start to the split so far, so we may be seeing them in those top spots come the end of the split. And we did sit down and ask who they thought they'd be facing in the finals if they make it that way. Guap, not really the team that I would have thought, M-Test.
Yeah, I mean, same, to be honest, until today when they were kind of completely Goomba stomping natives and they actually had a really decent performance. So I mean, not a bad prediction. I mean, I would say still that we have so many like strong teams in the top, like Unique and Lucas Lightside, my Swedish fellow brothers, alongside the I mean, obviously natives still looking kind of strong. So a bit of a wild card prediction, that one. But hey, man, Lucas Lightside versus Goop Gaming, I'm here. I would be there to
You're
watch.
here for it. We're here for it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, Guap have already beaten natives, like you said today, and they have actually beaten Lightside as well. So
there you go.
Bit of fear of them. Maybe predicting a team that is going to be strong towards the end of the split. Third and final question that we asked the Lightside lads was if they had to pick a mascot, who would it be? M-Test, I'm not particularly familiar with Pokemon. What is this?
Yeah, I mean, this is past both my generation as well, Middlecott. I think this is something that we for sure not familiar with. But I mean, Lechonk, I like the name though. Kind of.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah, it kind of fits my. Actually, I should have brought a picture of my rabbit I got recently. He's really chunky boy. He's like super fat. I start calling him the Lechonk.
Lechonk.
Really good one.
That's
But
cool.
obviously the Pokemon. I have no clue what this is. If that's even a Pokemon. I mean, I assume it is.
Well, so our producer did tell us that it is a Pokemon.
Okay,
but it sounds like Entos, that you and me have got a similar problem where we don't really engage with pop culture too much. So yeah, Lechonk, I guess is pretty cool. We do actually have, it's not a question coming up, but it's a nice little cute video from Bambi, the jungler for Lightside, just showing off that cat. It's pretty cute.
Yo, NLC 2. The question was, why is Bambi's cat so cute?
This is not what I expected to see when I woke up today. Like some cat content on Div 2. Like Div 1 doesn't even have this. Like, what is this? There is not even a competition. Also, obviously, Div 1 has never had M-Test and Middlecott co-casting. So Div 2 has that edge as well. I mean, cats and this insane duo. So actually, that's a really cute cat though. Not
that is a really cute cat. That is a really cute cat. That is. What the? That was a bite. Oh, that's a lick. I gotta say, man, this is very cat-like interaction here. I gotta say.
That is for sure. That's on the spot. Yeah, I mean, we don't have any more words for it, right? I think few words kind of perfectly describes that video.
I don't know how to play-by-play cat videos. I'm really sorry. Like, I don't know
Why?
how to
Why
build the
don't you
hype.
know
I
that?
don't know how to build the hype there.
I actually tried. It was a good effort, but
It's fair
yeah,
play. It's fair play.
I mean, respect that though. Respect some. I mean, you get some sort of. It's not dopamine, but it's other hormone. You get serotonin
It's
maybe from the
I
cat
don't know.
video.
Happy
Yeah.
chemicals. Happy
Yes. Happy
chemicals when you're looking
chemicals.
at cats. Actually, no, I'm not going to do that. That's going to ruin cats for people. If I tell the people the facts that I was talked about, it would ruin cats for everyone. So we're not going to do that.
Fuck, man.
We've actually got some League of Legends coming up, M-Test, at some
Yeah.
point today. A few more games ahead of us. First up is going to be Lucent versus Domino. Two of the teams that haven't really had the best start to the splits, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, I mean, no, for sure, right? I wish maybe we could have gotten the standings up once again if I want my our producer to work a little overtime. But yeah, I mean, obviously, as you mentioned, didn't have the greatest start. I casted them 2 days ago. They looked kind of shaky. Still looked like they were doing some good things, like cross mapping a lot. And this is what I said. I said this so many times. I'm just kind of impressed to see that this is the meta in League. I mean, the general level of League rather is kind of evolving. Even in Div 2, we see stuff like cross mapping, stuff like you have like a clear identity in the draft, and you play towards that. So Lucent has that going for them, but they really need to like
Yeah.
try to get some dubs on the board.
Winning is
Winning.
is
Yeah.
always a good thing.
It's win, man. Like it's not hard.
Yeah. And I mean, to be fair to Lucent, they have had fair few struggles. Obviously, losing Johnny, their jungler, having to have their coach sub in is not the best situation that you want to. But it does kind of give you the opportunity to kind of go back to basics and operate in a bit more of a simplistic manner. M-Test, do you reckon that they're going to be going towards something like that this evening?
I mean, you can just really hope for that, right? I think if they that's the thing about all these teams as well. You kind of have to identify just because a lot of teams they're trying to play all around the board. They're trying to play so many different comps, but sometimes just having one good strategy. That's a lot of times enough. Like people think that if you just have one playstyle guy, you're gonna get punished. But a lot of these teams, maybe if you're just good at your own strategy, you don't really have to think about the other teams. I think you're gonna come a long way. So I hope they're gonna just do that.
I mean, so a team that I really think about that from last split was Munster, because they heavy weak sided top lane really played towards that bot lane, and whilst they weren't able to win out in the split, they were. For a majority of the time, one of the real front runners, one of those teams that was leading at the front of the pack. So yeah, definitely agree with you on that side of things. Now, looking over a bit to Domino, I feel like if we're talking about team identity, this one is a little bit less settled. I don't really feel like they got into the groove last split, and I feel like those struggles are kind of continuing in summer as well.
Yeah, and this is like kind of a worrying trend, right? Because now this split, I mean, last split you could kind of say that it was not a practice split, but you had a lot more. It was a lot more forgiving. It was not really a promotion, relegation and stuff like this. And now, actually, the teams are fighting so hard to actually get into that D1, get a D1 spot. And this is where you actually have to make sure that the practice you had last split kind of comes through here, and you have to prove yourself as one of the best teams in the Div 2, obviously. And to see that kind of trend keep going for Domino is obviously a worrying one.
Yeah. And it really makes this matchup all that more important, because one of the things that a lot of teams at the bottom of the table really need to do is find wins against the teams around them. It's all right, Guap, beating Lightside and beating Natives, but if they aren't able to beat the teams around them, then maybe when you get to relegation, stuff like tiebreakers become oh so important. So Domino and Lucent, I think they're going to be really, really keen getting that win on the board today, putting themselves ahead in that head-to-head and setting themselves up to really get their season kicking.
Yeah, and this is what kind of we talked about me and Hipprint before as well, that just getting one dub early in the split kind of allows it to build momentum, and this is really what the teams need. I think if you have good momentum, you can I think any team in this league can beat any team literally. I mean, it's not unique as gotten lossless so far, but I think even them have like shown weaknesses as well, even though they're looking strong as a team. But for sure, like just the momentum, just having that insane confidence aura around you, maybe the halo on top of your head as well.
Just like a little vibe going on, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That just shows that just proves to I know this for sure myself, right? Whenever I felt confident about my own play, I would play so much better. And when you're feeling like you're on a couple of losses, maybe your confidence is not as high, and that could really spell like disaster for the scaling of the split.
I mean, so that's actually something that really permeates through all levels of League of Legends. I was listening to Euphoria, that's back, on the train back from Brighton yesterday. And they were chatting with Yamato Cannon. And one of the things he was talking about is coaching Fnatic. They kind of were a little bit shaky going through the split, and they thought they could turn it on to playoffs. And then I think it was the series against Rogue. They were looking really strong for a couple of games. And then that game 3, they kind of threw, they fell down, and the confidence really like sort of fell out of all of the team, and obviously they end up getting knocked out. And that I guess that really speaks to what you're saying about how important confidence is when you're playing the game.
Yeah, and I just remember this as well, like so many scrims where you're kind of playing a better team, and the first game you go now, you're all fresh, you go into the game, you're playing kind of well, you're kind of that you're playing against kind of better players, but you're going toe to toe with them in the first game. Then they just play the game better, a bit better, right? So they end up winning. Second, third, fourth game as well, they just completely demolish you because I mean, yeah, they were kind of warming up to it, and then obviously as you keep losing, you don't really want to go for some kind of crazy plays that you would maybe do in the first game, and then you just your confidence is going lower and lower, and that's the one of the hardest difficulties I would say about playing this game competitively is just keeping that confidence in check, not being too high, not being too low, and that's just so important for all these teams basically.
Yeah, you don't want to have ego. I think when you play with ego, it can help to a certain extent, but you end up looking for overdives, overextensions, which I think are a bit more punishable in this current meta, right?
Yeah.
Towers do a hell of a lot more damage past the sort of 8-10 minute mark. So if you're trying to snowball a fairly small lead at that point in the game, overstepping, going a little bit too far can be punished so heavily.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this time and time again, right? Especially this happens so much in LC as well. Like at the top tier level, people are players like Perks. They're just kind of they know that they're so good, and then suddenly they just go for something, and they look just so incredibly stupid when they're doing that. But it's all good and dandy because I mean, as long as they know it themselves, then it's all good. It's just kind of impressive to see that they don't really stop going for this place no matter what. And even though I know for sure I've played against so many people in solo queue as well. They're like 0-6 and they're so down, but they're still like accumulating amounts of pressure because of the way they're playing. They're just playing so cocky that you have to kind of respect them.
Are you talking about the boss?
Yeah, I mean partly, yeah. I mean this guy. I mean no, this guy has. This guy is just completely off the charts. Like this guy is
he's a weird one because I feel like he doesn't have ego, but his playstyle is very sort of like ego-ish. Whilst we're still waiting on the teams to get into lobby, I do apologize for a short delay. M-Test, I kind of want to get your more general thoughts on this patch as a whole. Coming in, how do you feel like the meta's shaping up? What direction do you feel like it's going in? And are there any champions that you feel like these teams need to be contesting pretty heavily?
Okay, so initially when this patch, I just read the patch notes, right? I thought that top and AD would like be kind of buffed because I mean obviously longer fights, AD has like so much more agency in these late game fights, and also the way that this base magic resistant armor came in, they can just kind of scale a lot better, and maybe the game is not like lost at 50 minutes. But speaking about the meta in competitive right now, I mean it's just super different from like every league. I feel like we talked to Snille on Tuesday, the jungler for natives, and he said that just playing around jungle is super OP because you have all these farming junglers like
Well, he
Lilia,
would say that, wouldn't
Garthus. Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course, actually, that is because he's for sure biased.
Just play around jungle. Yeah, it's really strong. It's really OP, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I agree to some extent, but for sure, it's like we're super biased, right? Obviously, being the jungler, but I think it's super difficult to say still because they just released. I mean, 12.11 came kind of recently as well, right? And we're still on 12.10, the kind of obnoxious patch, I would say. It's just so many things that are kind of not broken, but it's just the numbers are just kind of imbalanced, and 12.10 11 is gonna fix that. It's really hard for me to say actually. I actually took a 2-week break as well from league, so I just came back recently. I'm having quite a lot of fun playing.
What did you get up to on the break?
I just honestly, man, I just had I was working elsewhere. I was actually doing some in real life working. I was on an
No.
island in Sweden, like the Swedish archipelago. I think that's how you pronounce it. And yeah, I was working there in a pub actually. It was
Oh, nice.
yeah,
Oh, nice.
it was actually I had a lots of fun. But the most fun part was just taking a mental break from league, honestly, and that can be so draining. I know for sure everyone
Yeah.
who's watching this and yourself, you know this, and yeah, just nice to be fresh and coming back and seeing what the meta is developing. Like, because as you question me, right? It's just I feel like it's just impossible to tell because I saw in Div One
Yeah.
people are playing Kog'Maw and Twitch, and it works out sometimes. Sometimes it just looks like absolute garbage. And because you have more base resist and base armor, it doesn't mean that you get the skill for free.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I just have to wait and see. Honestly, that's why it's so exciting right now to just watch as much league as possible. And speaking of watching, we are actually entering the draft now, so I'm
We've got a
excited to watch
draft.
this one. Hey, let's go, man.
Yo! Holy fish moly, M-Test. On the board, draft on the way. I believe that Lucent are going to be missing one or two of their first bans. I'll just have to double check that. Because they were a little bit late to the lobby, but, you know, that happens. Jungler got ganked by Windows Update.
Yeah, I mean that happens. Mamma mia.
Happens to the best of us. But M-Test, now that we're sort of going through this draft, we're going to start to see some picks unfolding. And we talked a little bit of Rydona, obviously coming in as this sub, a little bit of a lower rated player here for Lucent. Do you think that trying to ban out Jungle Pool, trying to target him a little bit more is going to be effective?
Yeah, I mean, there's two ways you can go about it, right? Either you can say that, I mean, this guy is. I think someone told me he was like plot in solo queue, and maybe then
Plat
you just
3.
say, yeah, very respectable, right? But I think then you can just say, I think it's actually, I would be, it would hurt my ego to ban junglers when I know the enemy jungler is platinum 3. Like that's just how it is. So I would say they would not do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rydona honestly played kind of well on Tuesday. Not gonna lie. So I don't think he was. I don't think he has been plot his whole life. I think he was higher up there before. But yeah, it's gonna be exciting to see what he brings out because I think actually looking at this, it looks like Domino just kind of had the obviously Lucent losing one ban because they were a bit late. I think Domino's
Yeah.
actually showing them the sportsmanship that we love to see here in league and just not getting a ban out as well for them, so which is
Well, it's
nice.
fair play. Well, as we get towards the fourth ban, we do see that Lulu taken off the board, something that Little Pants is quite proficient on, and has been rising in priority as these enchanters have really come to the forefront. Senna, I think one of these premier bot laners right now for a similar sort of reason, a bit tanky with that durability patch, can provide a lot of healing, and the Renata as well. Again, an enchanter that has benefited from these extra resistances. Wukong going to be locked in. This is a flex pick between top and jungle.
Yeah, and just kind of surprised to see just Gwen open, Cardis is open as well, Lilia is open. Like there are so many AP picks right now that you can play. Lucent not first picking it is giving me like two options. Either they don't think that Gwen is OP or they don't play it. I really hope that Domino may pick up at least one of the OP champs because if you have both Gwen and Wukong in the same team, I think it's a bit yikes
Yeah.
for you. But I think actually Rydona was playing the Volibear on Tuesday,
Yes,
so
he was.
them picking that away maybe I mean gets somewhat Rydona going down, but obviously Wukong, as I mentioned, being a flex, they can just chill with that. The Ezreal being locked in for Hellman, a solid blind pick. I've seen it being blind picked in SK recently as well. So I mean, in that sense, it's quite okay, but it's gonna be really a skill matchup now when Mirai actually locks in the Kalista.
Yeah, so Callista, for those who don't know, is Mirai's most played in solo queue. They're a little bit of a one trick, so I'm surprised that Domino actually left that one off the ban table and have allowed them to pick it. Ari going to be locked in for Kurosh. He's played that a couple of times so far this split. Obviously, with Lucent being 1 and 3, hasn't found the most success on it, but I like that he keeps coming back to this pick because it is one of those mid laners that can be a bit more proactive and can have a lot of agency.
Yeah, I mean, no, for sure, right? And it just leaves, I guess, they're picking like Lissandra to counter it, or they just
Yeah.
pick a support and they ban out two supports and do that. But hey, they locked Akali. Not sure how this matchup goes actually in mid. It could potentially be a flex as well, right? But I would just assume that they just pick this to make sure that it goes into the Ari. Obviously, Kurosh gonna have a lot of prior in this lane, at least like first 6 levels, as you mentioned. Can look to make something happen early. I think he played Victor on Tuesday's game, and he was obviously that's a champion you don't really want to be proactive on. You're just kind of sitting
Yeah.
back and scaling. So nice to see Kurosh picking up a mage once again, but a way more proactive one this time around.
Yeah. Victor's always weird for me because he doesn't want to fight early, but if you do get early fights, if you do get like kills and assists on him, it's so impactful for how you're actually able to play the game because you can get towards those augments faster, and it's just a little bit nice for you. We're on to the second band phase now. Domino targeting out the top lane with that Ornn, and another Enchanter taken off the table here by Lucent.
Yeah, I mean, this is just the Domino saying that probably Lucent is just gonna blind pick on 4, probably a tank, right? And Ornn is for sure like the best one to just blind. The Janna ban coming in, kind of surprising, honestly.
This is heavily targeted at Little Pants. He absolutely demonizes Solo Q with this pick. It's that and the Alistair are really sort of two of his pocket picks. And we've seen another support man with the Braum taken away, and with no supports locked in yet, the pool has really been pinched, M-Test.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to like see either they just blind pick the top side, but I would just lock Rakan here, honestly. They doesn't really have a counter in this game,
Yeah.
and yeah, Ezreal Rakan just being like a really, I mean, obviously like one of the safest matchups in the game.
Yes.
Now Little Pants can pick Alistar, but it's not good against this comp that Domino's has. And is that a lock-in?
They've locked it. We're running back the Silas support.
Oh, it is actually
100% win rate in NLC Div 2, by the way.
Okay, let's go.
Helped Lucent get their only win of the split so far up against London United. Not really the best ultimates to steal, in my opinion, but it's another one of these Little Pants pocket picks.
It's absolutely. Okay, I'm not gonna say it's garbage. Like he has the Rakan ulti, I guess, and the Volibear ulti to like turn off the towers. But other than that, I mean, it's just a pick, I guess, that you mentioned. I mean, Little Pants has so many niche picks. Then, like he has the Janna, he has obviously the Silas. Now, I'm excited to see if they can make something happen in this lane because it's really hard against Ezreal Rakan. But they do have the mid prio in this one, so I really hope that Kurosh this time. Please, man, don't disappoint me. Don't stay in your lane the whole game. Please move to side lane when you have prio. Just make something proactive happen. Obviously, this is on everyone, right? If I'm playing AD carry this game, I'm telling my mid, shove your wave, don't freeze, just come bot and we kill them. But yeah, the Gwen actually going through the whole champion select and going to last pick for Spooder on the top lane. Obviously, it's a solid one, but looking at Lucent as well, remembering that this is 12.10 where Olaf is just completely Astro broken.
Yeah. Before those armor reduction nerfs on his Q came through, so up to 30% at max rank, which is pretty disturbing. And it's another one of these picks that DBL has performed pretty well on so far across the split. Played that in their win against London United, has had a couple of solo kills against some people that maybe he shouldn't have as well. So I think Lucent here, they're going a bit towards comfort. It makes a lot of sense. They've got some engage options. Domino kind of got a few power picks, but not quite as coherent, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Lucent and I see, as you mentioned, like they have so many comfort picks. You know, the Silas, the Olaf. But what I don't see is like they really have to like snowball this game either from they just have to kind of play through mid and into the silence. Bottom top, they can like choose whatever they want. I think if Kalista gets ahead, it's impactful, but not as much as getting the Olaf ahead. I think if you can shut this Gwen down, because let's face it, like they don't have that much CC to like deal with the Gwen in a team fight. So if Gwen is untouched or like not behind in the game, I feel like it's super hard for Lucent to like actually accomplish something in a fight. They don't have reliable like engage or I mean actually yeah they don't. I guess they only have the Kalista. The obviously if Kurosh can find a flank or Dona can find a flank, yeah, that is true. The thing is that Dominus has so much like mobility on their team. I think if this game is like even at 20 minutes, I think Dominus is kind of rolls over Lucent. But I mean, who am I to tell to judge? Let's see if this Olaf can smack some people around.
Well, I mean that's what the pick like has to do. Even before it sort of came into the meta and became one of these sort of premier picks up in the top lane. Players like Adam were playing it aggressively in the LFL, then came over to the LEC and maybe didn't have as strong a performance on it, shall we say, but definitely a pick that does want to get aggressive early and does want to make things happen. And I think that's fair that Lucent have actually opted into this style because in their game on Tuesday up against actually Rising Dawn, it did feel like they were able to generate a few of these early game leads and get stuff going, even if they weren't able to transition it a little bit later.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you on that one. You hit the nail on the head, so to speak. But finally, Middlecott, we're going into the game between Lucent and Domino's, two teams that, as we mentioned, hasn't had the greatest of starts. But today, one of them is obviously not going to have one victory after this one, and can start the momentum wave going upwards.
Yeah. Getting a couple wins on the board, being 2-3 at this point in the split. Not great, not terrible. Kind of just meh. 1-4, heck of a lot worse, as we see on the minimap. Domino going for a bit of a 5-point start, not going too aggressive into Lucent's jungle, whereas they're opting for a bit of a cheeky pixel brush start and a late invade that will be spotted out.
Yeah, I mean, this is just, I mean, obviously well-placed ward, right? I think they know that, I mean, Olaf is really strong level 1, Kalista could be strong, not has the Halo Blade Stop, so not gonna be as impactful, but Little Pants using his E to get over the wall, that's just the cheeky silence invade you can do, but, I mean, Domino's were ready for this, right? They know that Little Pants plays this type of picks and knows what he can do level 1, so, I mean, well played from them. They get so much vision now on the side of, in Lucent's jungle, and probably Lucent's gonna know this because they didn't really accomplish much on the top side, right? And that usually means that Domino's knew what they were up to. And looks like the junglers are gonna path to opposite sides. So just gonna make sure now. Actually, I'm kind of scared for DBL because he is playing against the Volibear and he is without flash. So if Gwen and Volibear could look to punish this early, could be disastrous for the Olaf.
Yeah. Wave management is going to be key, right? Because if Volibear ends up top lane at 3 minutes and the wave is under DBL's tower, you're not really going to be able to do anything with that. But if Spuda can make sure that DBL is overextended in the lane, which, to be fair, the Olaf does like to do a fair bit, as we see the undertow thrown out there, and it maybe can get a gank going down.
Yeah, actually, just looking at this, I'm quite surprised to see Radon actually just going to from his blue instantly to Sidon's red, and looks like it's gonna be some sort of weird map split here, not an instant one. I really hope that Lucent bot lane knows about this play happening, because if they don't, Sidon's just gonna go and kind of get a double kill here for free after taking these camps. But yeah, it's gonna be quite a map split. Radon are not gonna be able to get anything other than the red though, so not really sure what the state of thought is for this. Really good from Domino's level 1 to get that ward, actually, because that's just what allows Sidon to get this side of Radona's jungle now.
Yeah, not really opted into it. And Sidon actually handshaking a little bit with Radona here is going to take that back. Head to base. Does have the Predator, so we'll pick up those boots. And this means that Volibear is pretty much operating at maximum efficiency in terms of these early ganks.
Yeah, and this is just what you want, right? I think Sidon, obviously not having mid prio or bot prio in this early, probably thought that Radona might be joining him on the bot side soon. So just gonna respect it. It's not gonna be a full map split, because now, actually it's super weird, because both junglers got enemy red buff, and then nothing else happened after that.
Else, yeah.
But speaking of that, though, Sidon is back on the top side, gonna go for again with the Predator.
Chasing down onto DBL, who does have the ghost himself. Runs away, throws out the undertow, but the flash comes through from the Volibear, and Rydona is not there in time. First blood to Spuda.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we talked about, right? DBL having no flash on the top lane, even with the ghost when Sidon has Predator. Obviously, you're not gonna survive for that. He doesn't even have the TP now when I realized as well, and Rydona is gonna be somewhat happy. It's gonna be able to pick up most of this wave, but one guy that is not happy right now is the Olaf, who we talked about has to snowball the early game.
Yeah. I mean, small victories for Lucent that was a Predator and a flash investment from Sidon, so gank potential maybe a little bit lower, as Little Pants trading very aggressively with Coin Flip and Helman up here in the bot side. Is running that Aftershock on the Silas, so a little bit tanky when he does go in for these short trades.
Yeah, and this is what they can do right in a lane like this. Yeah, like it's gonna be even harder. Like after Rakan and Esri get 6, I think they're still playing the lane kind of well. Hellman being actually up in farm, even though this matchup is the hardest in the early game. But speaking of hard lanes, I feel like Urosh actually kind of gapping Sera right now. Will get the TP advantage now. Obviously, he's gonna have the Pry as the Ahri, but can now, if he wants, save the TP and get advantage from there rather. So I mean, good so far from him, but nothing too explosive in this early game, except for that DBL Olaf on the top side going down. And maybe Sidon is going for another one.
Oh no, DBL has the ignite, but that's not a defensive summoner spell. You're just gonna die here once again. Kill gonna be donated over to Spooder. A 2-0 Gwen at 5 minutes is bad news.
Yeah, and this is just what we talked about, right? When you have that top lane that doesn't have flash, you're kind of forced to play around him. If you don't, he's for sure gonna die. And this could be one of the synergy issues, right, that you have when you're playing with your coach as the sub jungler. You don't really have that cohesion that you get from playing with each other. Probably didn't have time to like scrim as much. And you also talked about the wave management earlier, Milcott, and DBL. Looking at the top right now, it's just... Ooh, actually my stomach is turning just by watching on the top side.
Yeah, not great. But in response, Lucent are able to go for the cross map, pick up that Herald, that Drake in the bot lane, Ocean Drake, so a little bit more sustain for these lanes, and potentially a soul in the near future.
Yeah, and this is what we've been seeing so many teams do, right? In Div 1, in Div 2, even though in Div 2 for sure there is so much more fighting than in Div 1 currently. But still, people are opting towards getting in a really early Drake. I think I've seen only one game where the Drake has not been taking before like 7 minutes. Yeah, I mean, really good. Just getting that early. The Ocean Drake obviously being like the best early Drake you can get as well, just for your laners. So you're gonna see what soul it's gonna be, but Sidon, I mean, he's been super proactive early, right? He's just been trying to punish this top side of Lucent, and now he's looking to do the same on the bot side.
And that's kind of what your job is as this Volibear. It's kind of just to be a big ball of stats in the early game, and then once 15 minute hits, you go, yeah, all right, team, I've given you a lead, go and do something with it. So we do see both junglers congregating towards the bottom side of the map, but neither feeling like a gank is possible.
Yeah, it's just, I think Sidon he was just expecting maybe Raidona to try to gank bot. Worst case, he's there to counter it, right? But just letting his bot lane get the wave in and make sure that they can get a good recall in is usually enough. The awkward thing, though, is this wave did not crash, in fact. And Hellman is still kind of stuck in this lane. He just really wants to base and get his Sheen and get his tier as well. But for now, they're going to be taking quite a breather on this one. The wave state being okay just because Hellman is playing Ezreal. If he was playing any other champ, he would not be able to farm this, let me tell you.
Yeah, if this was like a Vayne or something, you're kind of going GG next. But as it stands, it's able to farm up on this Ezreal. But it is important that Lucent are buying this time because you want to get that tier stacking as soon as possible. And every minute that Hellman isn't going back and picking that up is time that Lucent are buying for themselves. But as the team that needs to be making proactive plays in the early game, making the Ezreal stronger slightly later, not really too impactful, I feel.
Yeah, and I just realized I got completely bamboozled. The overlay was bugged, and Ezreal has in fact already.
Oh, he has bugged. Oh no!
And yeah,
oh no!
I was feeling it was something fishy because Gwen had still 20 TS after 8 minutes and didn't just had one kill. So I mean, something was up there, but now we're back to it, and love to see it. Now Raidona. Still not level 6, Sidon is level 6 there. This could be really explosive on the top side.
Yeah, but DPL is already on 20% HP. He's not going to be able to continue through this fight, and it is another kill for Spooder. Little Pants trying to take advantage on the bot side, but Coin Flip can just dash away so easily.
And once again, I mean, Raidona is trying to cover his Olaf now. We see that's the second time where he's on the top side, kind of ready to see what's going on with DBL and him, but Sidon being level 6, Spooder being super far ahead already. I mean, it's just impossible to fight against the Volibear, which, as you mentioned, is just a big bag of stats this early into the game.
Little Pants throwing out the Change Lash and Coin Flip dashing back to the Ezreal. It's such a safe lane, and this was the lane that Lucent was able to find 2v2 kills in their win against London United, but it's just not happening here. And Hellman, he doesn't care. He's got a 3-0 Gwen on the top side. It's not working so far for Lucent. What do they need to do to get themselves back into this game?
I think Raidona, bro, at this point, you just have to FF your top. Like, you just have to let him know. DBL, you tried really valiantly, but this game I'm not gonna play around you. It's just a little bit too late for that, right? You have to put all your eggs into the Kalista basket at this point. Just kind of I'm not mad. I'm just a bit disappointed over Kurosh.
You sound like my parents now, M-Test.
No, but
EVL,
Kurosh,
actually.
I just, yeah. I mean, Kurosh, I just told that he has to just get prio on his lane and then move to either top or bot. This game, obviously, top is gonna be doomed because DBL is gonna die again.
M-Test, it's happened again.
Yeah.
It's just painful to watch at this point. But you can't look away. 0-4-0 on the Olaf. This Gwen was 2-0 at 5 minutes. She's 4-0 now. I don't know if we can get the gold difference coming up, but Jesus Christ. Are we allowed to broadcast that?
I think for sure we have to call someone after this game and make sure that we're not doing something really illegal. I think for sure what Domino is doing to DVL this game is illegal and should not be allowed to happen, but it did, and now we're here. And we talked about Middlecott how in the draft already that if Spooder is ahead on this pick, it's super hard for Lucent to deal with, and now he's 2 levels up, as we saw as well just recently. No, he's gonna get don't beat him up again. He's already dead.
Leave DVL alone. He's gonna pop the ultimate, the Ragnarok, but he's rolling forward onto Spooder, secures the shutdown, but finally goes down in the end. A kill at least for Lucent.
I mean, really huge there from DBL actually, just managing to actually get something on the board. As you see, he's not that far behind in farm, and now getting, I think it was like a 700 gold shutdown or something. Not bad at all. Still obviously gonna be good for Dominoes, but now, I mean, Lucent has 2 Drakes already. It's gonna be Inferno Soul as well, so if they can just, once again, Rydona, just mute DBL if he's crying on Discord and play towards your bot side. That's just the way how to...
M-Test, I've got to stop you there. DBL is actually just like the loveliest person IRL.
Oh, okay.
I've gone to a couple like events with him. I think it was like an M&M gaming one at Worlds last year. Honestly, just like the loveliest bloke.
Okay.
So I feel kind of bad for him. But at the end of the day, don't die 5 times.
Yeah, no, it's probably my bad. It's just because I think every single top, and not every single one, but most of, I swear, top laners are super, like, every top laner I had to play with in a team, they were super comedians, but they were also completely mental, like, in a fun way, and I'm sure that DB is a lovely bloke, and I'm feeling bad for him as well this game. I mean, playing without flash and your jungler is pathing away from you, that's not what you want to happen ever. And it's not like I'm flaming him, it's not completely all his fault. But for now, he has to realize that it doesn't really matter if he dies one more time actually. If he can try to trade kills like that, it's super good for the game for him. But Lucent once again had to kind of slow down the pace a bit, make sure that they don't fall behind on bot and mid as well, and play for these Drakes.
Well, I mean, we did see that Mirai was able to get a few turret plates, actually 4 turret plates into their back pocket, so that's going to feel good. Domino have now swapped Spooder down into the bot side, and with this dive being set up, coin flip going under the tower. Little Pant's going to be charmed through as well. The exhaust onto Spooder is reducing his damage, but Mirai is still dead. Domino maybe have overstepped here as Lucent are starting to respond. Double stun, double flash come out as down goes the Ezreal. Hellman is dead. Sidon dead as well. It's a double kill for Kurosh. Okay, Lucent, we're starting to see what we needed to see, but from Domino, they've had that identity this game. We talked about this being a team that didn't really have a person they were mainly playing towards, didn't really have that style. They have zeroed in on accelerating Spooder this game. And despite Lucent actually being able to come back to that fight, it's still going pretty well for them.
Yeah, I mean, as we saw, right, Lucent actually investing 5 people onto that play, so Sarah's just pushing, actually getting the tier 2 on the top side, so obviously Domino's gonna be able to grab himself a goal lead off of that play regardless, but I like the fact that Lucent actually punished something that Domino's were doing. It was kind of telegraphed the way they were playing, because everyone was literally just on Domino's side, was literally running to the bot side, so good punish regardless, but Zero actually getting that tier 2 is before the plates even were gone.
Mirai. You can understand that, but the exhaust dropped. Zero's going to use the 5-point strike to take them out. Perfect execution to extract themselves from the fight.
Yeah, and Mirai now playing the Kalista, playing against the Gwen, the Volibear, the Akali, and such a mobile comp in Ezreal Khan as well. It's just super hard to play now when you're this you're kind of falling behind already. And Spooder, obviously, they made a play without him. They just keep pushing bot, and Olaf is now getting completely zoned off of this bot as well. So even though Lucent has been doing some good things to like try to get back into the game. It feels like Dominos are just kind of getting ahead step by step. The more plays that they're doing.
Yeah, I think the key thing for me is going to be this Drake in a minute and a half's time, because Lucent have already picked up 2, and if they can secure a sole point for themselves, that does grant them a little bit of free map pressure. DBL?
Just recall, man. Don't cancel it.
Just recall, bro. Just recall.
He made it. No, but I like the point that you were bringing up. I think as well that Lucent, they already have 2 days on the board, right? I think actually they're getting really outscaled this game too, but maybe they can like bank on the fact that they might be playing the fights mechanically better, because I don't think there is a way in hell they're winning this next fight for the Drakes. I think they should just look into cross map, but seeing as they're all moving to the bot side, it looks like it's not gonna be the play that they're going for. It's gonna be probably a fight for this third Drake.
Yeah. I mean, so there is this theory that what's the point in not fighting if you're just going to lose a fight later. So maybe that's the sort of thing that they're going towards. They're saying, well, if this game does go to sort of 30, 35 minutes, we don't really think that we've got a chance there, so might as well take a flip at 15 minutes where we've got a bit more innate power in our champions.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that logic too, right? I think it's fair to argue for that. Kurosh actually picking up 2 kills, right? Not the only kills for his team, but more like 2/3 of it at least. He's actually looking quite strong on this Ari pick, and maybe now when they're first in river, they can actually look to contest it. As I say that those Spooder is actually basing. He does not have a TP. Actually, he does have a TP ward behind. It's gonna be a flank here.
It's gonna be a flank. It's gonna be engaged from Coin Flip. Callisto is going to be used, and Sidon actually being the first casualty, and Coin Flip is the second. Lucent are doing it, but Spooder has so much damage on the Gwen, but he's being chased down. Zero on a killing spree as he takes out Mirai, and the health bars on Lucent just not high enough, or maybe they are. Double kill for the Akali, but this is a 2-2 who do not win. DBL, the last one left standing, falls down. Triple kill for Zero, ace for Domino, and they're going to pick up the Drake as well.
Looked super solid there initially from Lucent. I mean, they get the first initial kill, then they trade 1 for 1, but in the end, I mean, Hellman being untouched on this Ezreal, even with the super bad buy in Triforce. I mean, he plays it super well regardless, and Zero completely popping off. I think he got a triple kill in that fight, and now he's just super snowballed. Dominos, they deny the soul point coming in from Lucent, and they also get the fight going for them. This just spells now disaster for Lucent.
The horrible thing for all the Lucent fans out there is how close that fight was, making it a 3v5 basically, but the Gwen just a little bit too strong, and I think Zero being a massive beneficiary of that fight means that there's an extra person that you need to be scared of if you are Mirai, if you are Kurosh, if you are these squishy members of Lucent that need to be dealing the damage.
Yeah, and this is the problem as well, right? Lucent now with DBL being so far behind. I'm not gonna talk about their non-existing frontline now, because actually another TP from Sarah is coming in.
It's another flank, and Lucent are stuck in the river. They might just be drowning as Zero waiting on the other side. Double knock up from the Charmer. The Wombo combo is there. First kill of the fight secured by Hellman as Rhydona is trying to sustain on the other side. DBL in the middle of it all takes an L as it's a double for Hellman. And Domino, once again, are going to find the objective off the back of that fight.
I mean, Dominos, they just don't slow down, man. I think Lucent thought that they had tempo on that play and they could get the hero for free because they kind of lost that fight earlier. Usually that's when you get the tempo. When you die, you kind of just get to be first on the map because enemy has the recall. But Arrow has another TP coming in with the flank, and they're just not here to play, man. They just shut them down completely. Gets the Herald as well, gets the fight going. They're gonna get this mid tower and the Herald. They just keep snowballing, man. The snowball is basically super big. It's a whole snowman right now.
Yeah, man, Lucent are kind of just falling like dominoes, and another team fight and another member of Domino that gets fed off it. Hellman sort of playing that weak side in the bot lane, but even with that Trinity Force, which is an awful item, apparently, still 4-1 and 6, and another person that Lucent need to worry about.
Yeah, and this just, once again, right, Dominus has now, as you mentioned, has so many threats online, and actually I see Ezreal having the stopwatch as well. I really hope he didn't buy that. No. I think that has to be the rune as well, because this game he doesn't need it. Maybe he wants to just do something really flashy with this one. Maybe E-flash in into stopwatch, some really some really interesting play. But as you mentioned, right, there is all super snowball, and even now, if Spooder were to like completely run it down in one fight, they have so many other threats to deal with that I think it's super hard for Lucent to navigate these fights.
And it's going to be hard for Spooder to run it down because look at that in inventory. Has got the Zhonya's. Well, Zero's actually got a Zhonya's as well. The ability to buy an extra 2.5 seconds of time could be oh so impactful, especially when Lucent are going to be looking for these snap engages on basically anyone that they can catch. Domino now pushing in this bot lane with Shelly. Will be able to take out this inner tower in just a moment's time, only leaving that mid lane tier 2 left standing for Lucent.
Yeah, and I mean, this is just, I mean, Lucent just has to play, either they try to just go for picks, which is super hard against the super mobile team of Dominos, or they just try to do the Fnatic brush and flip a fight somewhere, because if you just play the game normally from here, you're not gonna win, let's just face it. Raidona, you have to find some flash engaged Little Pants, you have to steal the Rakan ulti and come in from the side, but I mean, yeah, once again, it's still super hard, right? When you can't get the prio, you can't get the vision back, so Domino's gonna spot every single move that Lucent is making, and I mean, they need a miracle, man, let's face it, they have to pray.
Yeah. And miracles are hard to come by when you are sat 1 and 3 in the standings and have had the start to the split Lucent have had, and potentially going to be 1 and 4 by the end of this game. It's nice for Domino being in this strong position, but we mustn't forget that these games can flip oh so quickly with stuff like objective bounties being on the table, actually not enabled. Hopefully Lucent are going to get those soon, otherwise, yeah, it looks really bleak for them to get back into this.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Hiprain having some trouble with his internet earlier as well. Maybe that's what Lucent has to pray for as well. Something like this happens. But then again, in this modern world of technique, we have pauses, which...
Oh, no!
That's an insane call.
No! M-Test. M-Test, leave the call now, okay? You are too powerful.
I'm just telling you, man. Like, Hiprain told me, obviously on the first day we had a bunch of pauses, as we had today as well, because of some unfortunate events, and then now his internet was flying off the charts, and I'm just basically cursed, man. What can I say? It's just my fault, guys. I'm sorry.
The timing on that was absolutely perfect. I really don't know how you do it, but we've got this pause. We've got the opportunity to sort of take stock of this game and see what's going on. Domino heavily in the advantage with this 5.5k gold lead. We have actually had it confirmed it is actually internet issues for Zero, but it looks like they've reconnected, so hopefully we're going to have them back in the game soon. And we're starting to get towards that point where it becomes even more difficult for Lucent to win these fights. M-Test, I almost feel silly asking the question, but what can Lucent do now? I
mean, Kurosh does have 2 items on his Ari, and Mirai has 2 items as well. And this is like the 2-minute window in the game where Dominos hasn't got like fully completed 3rd items yet. So this could be like their time to shine. The problem is, it's just super hard to find one. Like, they have to get so many flanks going from Kurosh, from Little Pants, from Raidona as well. And this is super hard when Dominos has all the vision control, right? But if they can try to punish this side lane, that is not looking punishable at all. Seri is going completely maniac mode, forcing ulti trades with Kurosh. Yeah, I mean, obviously now, man, you just have to drop this Drake already, because even though you're not outscaling, there is no way that you're winning a fight. Yeah, it's just impossible, right? Because as you mentioned, Dominus already on that Drake. But Kurosh basing, looks like they're gonna maybe go for something at least. But Zero is he's having really a lot of fun, man.
He's thinking about it. Go in, take the shuriken.
Yes, no ulti. Okay, well.
Doesn't want to overstep, but I like what you were talking about, how Lucent aren't really able to find a lot of these flank angles that they need to achieve, and I feel like part of that is due to how many of these structures Domino have been able to take down in the early game. That means that their vision lines are going to be pushed a little bit further, and it becomes a lot harder to find those flank wards, those pockets of vision that Lucent need to be playing around at this stage in the game. Zero is going to go in onto Raidona, half HP on the Wukong, but does get charmed, knocked up by the Cyclone as well. Able to jump himself away as DBL is going into the middle of all of them. Cyclone reactivated, but Hellman is unstoppable. The Olaf has achieved a glorious death, but that's not what Lucent wants. They are able to just about disengage from the fight, but another 2 for 0 in favor of Domino. That Baron is looking juicy.
Yeah, it's looking juicy for sure, and Sarah has the TP, right? And there is... Oh, wait, maybe?
Oh,
Kurosh?
Maybe? Kurosh? Zero.
Oh, is that...
No.
Oh,
no.
way.
Over the wall. Back. Over...
Whoa!
What? Zero, you cannot get out of this one. One more charge left. There we go. The shutdown secured. But maybe not the most conventional way to buy time for your team. But it does mean that Domino are going to be able to secure this Baron.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Sarah, that was... If you managed to live that was for sure like highlight of the day. Was gonna be super clutch. But yeah, I mean, Kurosh getting the shutdown actually. So he's for sure the strongest member on his team. But it's really a consolation prize when Dominos gets the Nasher as well. And they can just wait for Zero to spawn. They won't be able to play the 1-3-1 now because the Alkali doesn't have the Nash. But I have a feeling they are not gonna care about that and just keep waiting for this. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they just were to group as 4 or 5 with a double TP as well and just try to dive Lucent. I think Lucent right now has to kind of use the fact that Akali is dead and try to make some sort of catch happening, but doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon.
Well, I like what they're doing. They're sort of pushing out a lot of these side lanes, which has been Domino's focus for this game. Try and shut down a little bit of that split push potential. You're kind of just buying time because I'm sure that Spooder and Zero are going to be happy to throw these waves right back into your face. But the more time that you spend wasting Domino's time with this Baron, the better for you. And now Lucent are looking for one of these picks that we were talking about. Coin flip just out of range of the charm, and the Everfrost doesn't connect either.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about, right? Like they have so much mobility on the side of the team, even though Coinfield almost faced like that. It was not really enough, but Zero?
Yeah, actually Rocket Belts away from the Fate Sealed as Little Pants is trying to find the Akali in the Shroud, but not going to be able to. And that is an ult for a W. That is a pretty worth cooldown trade for Domino as, once again, they are pressuring these side lanes and forcing Lucent to answer.
Yeah, and I mean, Domino is just playing this kind of clean. They're not overstepping. They are playing with towards the limits. Obviously, Zero has so much survivability as well. I mean, they have all the champions, and now, as you mentioned, they're just pressuring every single lane. And Lucent are really like, they have to make something happen. But once again, it's just super impossible when almost when Dominos are just playing this well and respectable.
Yeah, it's not really been cocky. It's not really been over aggressive, which is one of the ways that Lucent would have looked to come back into this game. As I say, that coin flip is really toying with the hearts of Domino's fans with this Rakan play. But that's kind of why you pick this champion. It's so you can be mobile. It's so you can bait out cooldowns and just dance around Lucent. And 4 members of Domino in the bot side. Lucent a little bit late to respond to this. Inhib is going to be going down second of the game in favor of the red side team.
Yeah, and they're just gonna be happy with this one, right? I don't think they're gonna go for more. I think the Nash timer is actually gonna be out soon. But 2 inhibs, obviously good on the board. I mean, if Lucent can somehow make sure that the Dominos doesn't keep snowball this game and try to farm these inhibitors, it might be good. But Little Pants going into Zero.
Yeah, and going to be going down shortly. Actually, dashes over the wall. The true shot barrage enough from Hellman to take him out, and Rhydona finds a triple knock-up, but it doesn't mean anything. Sidon actually going down, but now it's a 4v2 in favor of Domino. They win that if the numbers are the other way around, but DBL buying a massive amount of time. Not enough in the end, as Kurosh is going to be the final casualty. And I think that's the final nail in Lucent's coffin.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Lucent just has to go for something, right? But in the end, this time around, Dominos is like almost 10k ahead. They're just super strong all around the board, and this is what we saw from the get-go. They have a plan, Spooder, to snowball this guy, and they're not gonna go for the end, actually. But I was thinking the same thing as you. I thought for sure that was gonna be Nexus falling over. I was just about to give it to you, but they're gonna be happy with this. I guess they're just gonna get some bases, just rub it in Lucent's faces a little bit. They for sure are just feeling super comfortable in this one, even though they didn't end the game right there. They're gonna take their time, and I hate to say this, but it's just a matter of time, right?
Yeah. Well, it's not like Domino are getting weaker.
Yeah.
It's not like Lucent are going to be able to farm up 200 CS in the next 30 seconds as Zero is trying to make a play 1v2 onto Little Pants.
Go!
Doesn't opt in. Again, Domino, they're playing cautiously, but with controlled aggression.
Yeah, I mean, I know if I know myself for sure, I would just jump in there as Zero and probably die. So I mean, respect to him. I would for sure have, you know, the kind of the Lee Sin syndrome where you're hitting your Q, and that's the same on Akali when you hit your E. You're kind of forcing yourself to go in. But as I say that, the DBL man, you're just dead.
Yeah, a game to forget for the Lucent top laner as. I don't think Spooder's going to forget this one in a hurry. 9, 2, and 12 on the Gwen. been an impetuous performance from him as the charm comes through as Rhydona is looking for the gauge and he's not going to be able to find it. The perfect execution, the Shuriken flip, double kill for Hellman as in goes the volley bear, down he goes. Another double kill, this one is for Spuda and Hellman is going to make it a full house soon. Nexus goes down and Domino put themselves to 2 and 3.
Super clean there from Domino's. I mean, they had instantly the plan from the get-go to just punish this Olaf, and they managed to do so really successfully. And after that, it felt like Lucent didn't really have a game plan on what to do when this Olaf were behind. And yeah, I mean, it's super clean for Domino's. All their carriers were playing well, as you mentioned. They were playing not super respectfully, but they were never like in a, because they had so much mobility, right? They were never in like a state of where they could actually get caught. So GG, man.
Yeah. Not much more to be said.
Simple as.
GG, man. We are going to be jumping to a short break now, but stick around as I believe we've got a couple of interviews coming up.